Hey, Mike, how's it going, man?
Good, Frank.
Right on.
Good to be here. How we doing today?
I'm doing really well.
Good.
Yeah.
Good
really
Father's Day weekend?
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. Weather was nice. Well, weather was hot.
Yeah, it was, I don't know what the hell it was, but.
It was our first 110 or above day.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like we need that.
Here in the desert, it's getting hot. Summer has arrived, but we'll get through it again.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me that much.
No, I know what you mean.
So I don't care.
Anything fun and exciting?
Yeah, same old stuff. It's all good. It's all exciting. It's not like waking up every day like a little kid on summer break. Right?
Yep.
As long as he did his chores, he can go off and do what he wants, right?
It's funny, yesterday I had my parents over. We had Kayla's parents over. We're doing a barbecue and stuff, and we were talking about that, about how, you know, my mom and dad, or somebody mentioned how summers were like so great back when you lived in New York and on the East Coast. And I was like, that's so funny. Frank always talked about like memories from summer and how great it was. And my memories of summer growing up in Arizona were always, oh God, it's summer. But for other states, it's like, oh, summer, yes, it's here.
Yeah, it was a sense of freedom. It's just like, you know, no more school, nothing that was pulling you.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
what you want to do, you know?
Very symbolic of just, like letting go, freedom.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we were meant to live that way. Now, you don't need to be in summer break and not have anything to come out. You can live that way and have a job even working 12 hours a day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a mindset, and it's about moving because that's what it is when I didn't have any worry, plus when we were young, we didn't have a lot of beliefs yet that were stifling the energy moving through our body. The energy is constantly moved through the body until we fell out of a tree or something.
Well, and I also think it's too like more and more shit has been piled on over the years.
It's because we created like when things happen to us that we deem to be tragic, we actually tied in a belief in there. Oh, so like, I fell out of a tree. Well, don't climb a tree anymore. So every time you see a tree, it could respond to you. Mm-hmm. Where prior to those moments, you didn't have that. But what we're learning to do is let go of that. Yeah, you got to fall off a tree. Just learn to climb a tree even more consciously, better. So as we're doing this, we're learning to let go of everything, every belief, let go of it. Again, you can't get rid of everything because everything's contained within the universe. So what you're doing is just letting go of it. You don't need to carry it around with you. And that's what happens like when summer would begin as a young kid, especially in grade school. I remember like you just waiting for the last 5 minutes, like it was the longest time in the world, and the bell rang and you ran out and you just threw your papers in the garbage and everything else. It was just, you let go of everything.
See you next year.
That's the feeling we want. Yeah, it's a childlike state we want to get into.
And we all yearn for it, you know? We put in the form of vacations, we put in the form of different, you know?
Because it's who we are, actually. We are this conduit of information and energy coming through us, but we tend to have these beliefs and situations when they come about, we stifle it. Like, you know, like you see a lot of stuff in the news lately about all
the protests. Yeah, that was going on this weekend.
There's the wars in the Middle East, and so when people are glued to the TV watching that stuff, that belief that this shouldn't be happening or it's going to get worse, all that stuff, actually close their energy field, which they don't realize. When I start to worry and get into fear, I help conjure up and I help wars begin. Mm-hmm. I help this. So the best way in physics, this is physics now, this is not philosophy, but when I maintain high energy flowing, the energy running through my body can help stop wars. This is how Gandhi got the British Empire to leave his country. But when they left, they were friends. They weren't enemies. It's because his energy was so brilliantly flowing through him that happened. We can do this. And I was talking about this earlier. I mentioned this before on this podcast, but the start of the Revolutionary War was only contained, I shouldn't say contained, but was only propagated by 4% of the people in the 13 colonies. That's it, 4%. But 4% sucked everyone in with them. It's not that the rest of the people didn't want it. They were just too scared to enact getting rid of it. They were trying to stay on the side of the British Empire. Why? Because it's pretty scary.
Easier to go with it rather than
easier to go with it. Take out your liberty and do whatever. Like maybe I'll get a piece of the pie if,
Well, and we see that same thing like with, the Patriot Act coming into play, us giving up our rights, being like, hey, no, don't rock the boat. Status quo is good. Let's just let it happen.
And then we choose a side. I'm like, why are we choosing a side? There is no sides in this universe. It's just this energy flowing in. It's the crest, the trough, constantly flowing. There's no sides here. But it's the energy that when this happens, it feels bad. So we want to push against it. When you push against it, you make it worse. When you freak out and go to these rallies, or whatever, like there's really good peaceful places to go. Like I belong to these groups where you go there and they have drum, drum sessions, drum circles, drum circles and music and stuff like that. That's a great gathering. It's uplifting everyone else. When you go to a protest, you get angry or whatever, you're releasing cortisol into your body. You're actually helping this very thing you're pushing against. You're helping it more. And then all of a sudden, there's something out there, like in the media, that wants you and I to get upset. Why? Because they're trying to fuel the fire of their narrative to them. Because the media, when there's something going on, the media makes more money. When we're in peace and life, like the media makes no money, they have to come up with stories.
They talked about that. They said COVID was the biggest ratings, news place I've ever seen in their lives. Like it was like crazy the amount of ratings.
Because you were waiting to see what happened. It was, and even
everyone was glued to their TV inside.
Even like 9/11 and shortly thereafter, people were like, what's happening? Are we being attacked again? So all these things happen. But COVID was even more. Why? Because it was more effective around the world, where 9/11 was here in the United States. Not that other countries were like, oh, we might be under attack as well. But every time that happens, they realize going up. So, okay, are there individuals going in there and making up these stories to get us pulled into that vortex of despair and fear? And I'm like, yeah, but they're not evolved beings. So why are we getting pulled in by them? All right? They just want to make more money. So be it, let them. We don't have to stop them. We just have to stop watching the TV.
Who was it that I can't remember? It was somebody asked somebody to protest against the war. And I think,
Mother Teresa.
Mother, thank you. And she was like, I won't protest against the war.
Yeah, it was Vietnam War.
If you're protesting for love, I will march in the name of love, right?
Yeah, because she said they asked her if she would march and protest against the Vietnam War. She goes, I will not. But then she said, but if you have a peaceful march, I'll be the first one there.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, because
that's powerful right there.
Well, it's an energy field. So are we constructive in the interference pattern, or are we deconstructive? So this is where constructive and deconstructive come from, good or bad, or positive, negative. Positive, negative is a better way, because good or bad is, a lot of times it's relative to where you are. Like, this is good, like, okay, meat's bad for you. I'm like, well, unless you could eat meat. But there's a natural negative and a positive frequency and energy. We all know what that is. So one is constructive, the other one is deconstructive. So when we start to learn this, we actually can start heading into the more constructive way. So how can I mitigate what's happening in the world? You have to go in and let the energy flow. When you do, what happens is you come up with amazing ideas to eradicate or move away from. Instead of going towards what you don't like, what do you like? Move towards that. And when you move towards that, this becomes very small in the rearview mirror of your life. But if you keep moving towards it, if you keep backing up into it, if you're backing up your vehicle, you're going to have a stiff neck after a while. So just keep going.
It's funny, my mom shared over the weekend. It's funny, my mom's been getting like super into like Instagram, like the suggested reels and stuff that comes up. She's following a lot of like cool content, stuff like that you and I discuss, and she's loving it. She sent me this one article over the weekend that was talking about like, if you don't know like what direction you want to go, which is where I feel like a lot of people are at. You just need to start moving in the direction that you becoming like a healthier individual. Are we getting enough sleep? Are we eating the right foods? Are we doing the right thing? Are we moving in a direction that we would deem preferential or something good for us? And in that journey or on that journey, the opportunities or the your what you do want will become more clear, and you'll like learn what what direction you want to go or what business you want to start. Because a lot of us are like, especially in like the manifestation community, we're trying to manifest a certain thing, and some people are like, well, what if you don't know what you want? You're just you're upset, or this isn't it. Well, let's start like kind of like your analogy that you gave me years ago with the guitar. Let's start tuning the strings of our life.
Yeah, and I love that, because let's supplement the word direction for goal.
Yeah.
Let's take the word goal out, because goals are oriented to where I'm not going to get any satisfaction until the goal is met. But direction is completely different. Direction is what we do in life.
The journey. The
journey, yeah. So if I want to head to, anywhere, like say I want to head to California, my direction is west.
Yeah.
But if my goal is to get there, I'm miserable along the way. And then when I get there, my expectations are like, because once I get there, the goal's met. Now what?
Yeah, now what?
But if my direction in life, so if you're starting a business or whatever, like what is your direction? Not like what do you want from it? What do you mean? How are you going to contribute to the world? How are you going to feel? Because we all know what we want. We want to feel energy flowing through the body continuously. We want our heart open. We want to feel good. But we think in having that beautiful house, the car, the job, whatever it is, even in the spiritual community, having a lot of people come to my seminars, that is still objective objects out there that will never satisfy the internal.
Yeah.
Never will, because last time there was 200 more people, and
the physical world is
now
fleeting.
You're measuring, but there's a direction. What is your direction to move towards truth? What is truth? Truth is the energy flowing and not me pushing against it. And then there's relative truth, how I respond to it. And as we start to even let go of preferences, the less preferences we have, the lighter we are preference, the better life is. It's the preference of it's too hot. I like it. I only prefer 72-degree weather. Mm-hmm. Well, you can do that in the world today, because I could sit in the air conditioner and put it on 72. But now I'm confined to my house in Arizona. Mm-hmm. No, I loosen that up. My body definitely acclimates better in 72 to 80-degree weather because my physical body. But over time, I can get used to that. Mm-hmm. Wim Hof showed us that with breathing.
Oh, yeah.
The guy hiked the top of Mount Everest with no shirt on. And his body, he didn't freeze.
That's so crazy.
So the outside temperature had very little bearing on, it had little bearing. So when all of a sudden, you're trying to control the outside world. Wim Hof was showing us how to control the inside world through the physiology. And all of a sudden, it's like, now you can go hike the top on Everest.
In swimming trunks. Wasn't that what he was wearing?
Yeah, like shorts on.
He literally had like swim
and he had
trunks
shoes on just so he...
Well, yeah. He needed some shoes.
Someone said, "Did you go barefoot?" He goes, "No, because I needed the traction."
I love his honest answer.
Yeah, if he had spikes hanging out the bottom of his feet, he would have went barefoot, right?
Oh, God.
But, so this is the new way of looking at life. Mm-hmm. Again, listen, all different levels. There's nothing wrong with going and protesting. I'm not telling people, but if you're listening in this community, we're here to uplift you to the point where we can then be part of that 4%, so to speak, of changing the way people do this to where wars will end. But pushing against it, everyone has, if you take a side, like you're fighting against another side. You're fighting another human being against an idea.
It was pretty wild that last week that, was it Iran that struck Israel, or Israel struck Iran, or whatever? Yeah, it's all this, noise happening right now. And it's meant to pull us away, and out into the physical.
That's what it's doing. And it's trying to get us scared, right? Mm-hmm. And when we step out of that and go within and open up the energy, this is where we come to the solutions. But right now, the solutions that we're coming up with are still low-level solutions. If you do this, we won't attack you. I'm like, well, now you're compromising the way they want to believe. Mm-hmm. And so as we start to get elevated to a higher level, you could see beyond the understanding.
Yeah.
But if you're in the basement of the building, and I'm talking about the whole skyline of the city, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? So there's no right or wrong here, per se. There's just different levels, like we were discussing this earlier.
And I love that, because there are different levels to this experience.
Yeah.
And, like the the homeless man. You know, you don't go up to the homeless man and start talking to him about mindset, this, that.
Yeah.
You give him a sandwich. You know, there's these basic things. We need to be fed. We need to be, you know.
Yeah, or maybe we can learn something from the homeless guy. You just don't know. Like, we're going in with the idea of, like, we know the homeless person must be suffering.
Yeah.
Maybe. We don't know until you really go and find out. So the assumption is that, right? But, and that's kind of where we go from a baseline of contrast, right? Like, nobody wants to be homeless that I know of. I'm like, but why are you thinking about that? Like, have you ever been homeless? Mm-hmm. So we start to get into these ideas of worrying. That's survival, right? Well, then most of the people I know that are thriving live in a more nomadic way, and they'll go off into the woods with, you know, maybe a tent, maybe sleeping under stars, and they're in this brilliant space. So technically, they're homeless, you know, in the way we think of a home. Mm-hmm. But they're living brilliantly. They're going out there and living, you know, within nature. They're not scared of it. They're thriving in it. So, again, one isn't right over the other. It's just different levels. So it's being aware of what level are you in, what level we're trying to get to as humanity, and the level right here of watching the news and them against
Reacting,
us,
yeah.
Rich against poor, white against black, male against female,
Democrat
all these things.
against Republican.
This is there's truth in those at the lower levels. At these other levels, those lines start to disappear. The structure of the physical world starts to diminish.
That was well said. I wanted to kind of break down the levels so the audience would get what we're talking about.
Yeah,
and that was a good.
And there's something natural in all human beings is to upregulate naturally. And that's where direction comes in. Not goals, but direction. Mm-hmm. What do you want? How do you want to feel every day? Okay, that's like a river flowing. Get into that direction. And when you do that, it will occur for you to do this type of job, this type of thing, this nice thing, invent this thing. It's who we are. Like, not everyone's going to invent, not everyone's going to come up with a beautiful piece of music. You might come up with something else. So,
but you'd have to be in that state of flow to accomplish these things. That's why this outside world is continuously bombarding us with, nope, you got to worry about this.
Yeah.
Well, what about this?
Yeah.
How can you, this suicidal empathy stuff going on right now, too, which is like, hey, look, you can't be happy because, there's people out there that are suffering. And if you're happy, that means, you're privileged and they're not.
Yeah.
It's like this crazy, dynamic out there.
Yeah, you stick your head in the sand. I had somebody tell me that, like, you really believe that? And I'm like, yeah. But then I went through the whole physics behind it. Mm-hmm. I said, whatever you focus on, whatever you run to, it will grow. It's known. It's in science. It's in physics. Whatever you push against gets stronger. So why push against something? Not why direction moving towards something. The more people move towards something, like the founding fathers, which were part of the 4%, they moved towards liberty. They moved towards something, And when they did, they sucked the rest of the 96% with them. That's what happened.
It's kind of nice knowing that, because it means, we can help.
Yeah, you don't need 51%.
Yeah, exactly.
That's only in politics, by the way.
Yeah,
it's only in them against us type of thing.
And we know that, too, from, what's it called? The Maharishi effect?
Yeah.
Same type of thing.
Yeah.
Small group of people can have a huge impact on, a city, a state, etc.
Yeah, there was only a couple of, I forgot the numbers now, but it's like 20 people that were sequestered in a hotel.
Profound effects.
Yeah, and they just meditated for, I want to say, like 4 days. It wasn't even that long of time. But in the period in which they were doing that, crime, health, economics went up. All these things literally changed. And he preceded that by putting a 2-page ad out like 2 weeks before to indicate everything.
Saying that.
So it wasn't just a coincidence.
Happened.
There's something out there. So we do our best. And it's our duty to open up and remain conscious and do this. And don't worry about what's going on here. Right? All of a sudden, you elevate to a higher level. Then you can help the people that are stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Like the helicopter does during high traffic times. It goes down there. Hey, if everyone gets over to the right, you could avoid the accident and do that stuff. And if you're listening, you can do that. All of a sudden, it moves it forward.
Kayla had this crazy dream recently that she was telling me about. It was really cool. So she was awake in her dream, or she knew she was dreaming, type of thing.
Lucid.
Yeah, very similar. And she was in this dream, and there was she was, she was like being robbed, or like two people were like coming to get her was the storyline. But she knew the end of the story. Like she knew that she was going to be saved. And so she was witnessing like this scary, you know, like two people coming after her, but knew that everything was going to be all right.
Yeah.
And was able to like detach from it. And like she could pause it, she said. She's like, I could pause and stop it, but I couldn't go further without hitting play. So I was just kind of sitting there, and I was like, babe, that was a really profound dream. That's kind of like what this experience is.
Yeah, because what's really happening is like when you like, okay, you know what the end's going to be like. So that you might experience what we call discomfort, the heart racing, because that's what happens. In dreams, we don't have any time, so we take time out. But yet the physiology of your body, you could sweat, you could do all these things,
totally.
you get scared. So when you understand the outcome, you might experience a sense of anxiety for a brief moment, but that dissipates, comes up, goes away. That's part of this world. We're not here to get rid of anxiety or fear. We're just here to let it pass on through.
Yeah.
And we do that. But if you realize that, like even what's happening right now, people like determining what the president of the United States is going to do and what Congress is going to do, what some other country is doing. I'm like, the story's already played out. It's like when you go to a movie, it's already done. You're just experiencing the ups and downs, the dramas, what we consider to be. But when you go to a movie, you're excited, like watching the last Mission Impossible.
Hell yeah.
Like you're excited because you know Ethan's getting out, my friend. Like,
You know.
Come on, yeah.
You know.
Like yeah, they show him like floating in the water, like in ice cold water. I'm like, did he die? I'm like, he didn't fucking die. Come on.
Come on.
This is Tom Cruise. He don't die. And so, but there's still this bit of like discomfort, but we like it. But then boom, it passes on through. So we're at that level right now, and we start to let go and realize it's already played out. There's something greater telling a story here. It's not just Trump or the other side or whatever doing that. But if you get caught up in that, if you get caught up in the details, you don't enjoy the movie at all.
And that's where they want us kind of stuck, is getting caught up in these details.
Yeah, so there's twofold here, right? There's an element that wants us to be there, and then there's a higher element that wants to bombard with this so we're done with it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like...
That's a more positive, preferential way to look at it.
And there's no right or wrong here. It's the way I tell the story is like my dad kind of harassed at me and poked and prodded at me, not because he hated me, it's because he loved me. And he didn't want me to be taken, so to speak. So especially in boxing, like he would do sneaky shots. Why? Because if you're fully conscious, you can't sneak anything on you. But if like, hey, you weren't supposed to do that, I'm like, well, we did. That's why in boxing, when you're in the ring, your hands are supposed to be up at all times. Because there's been times where the referee split and the guy put his hands down, and the other guy punched him, even though it's illegal, he got knocked out.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's why he's supposed to be a guard at all times. And we're supposed to be conscious at all times. So my dad doing this, we made me more conscious without even intellectually knowing I was become more conscious. He wasn't cruel, people. He was loving. And this is what the universe is doing for us. It's bombarding with all this wars and protests and stuff like that. You could look at it as cruel, or you could look at it, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that. I'm like, okay, well, see how done you are. Like, see what gets you drawn in. I'm like, I got drawn in again. I'm like, all right. My wife's great for that. She drawn me in.
Drawn you in.
Drawn me in. Son of a bitch, she got me again. As she squeaks
But
off.
that's a great analogy, Frank. I love what you just shared.
Yeah.
Like, you're totally right.
And that's it. And I think about Kayla's dream. It's like she went through it, but she got drawn into it, but then she let it go.
Yeah.
And that's the level where we are as humans. It's like we're still having an experience. You know, we're in the world, but not of it. Let's go backwards. We're not of this world, but we're in it. Let's still have fun in here, people. Let's still have fun with it. But we have to learn to just let it go and start to look at, you almost got me, rather than like, why are you being cruel?
Yeah.
Hey, you have the absolute right to look at what's happening out there as cruel. Or you can also look at it as like, this is waking us up. Choose which side you want. Then there's a whole nother higher level too, which is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Where are you? Be honest with yourself. Where are you in the scale? So if you're like, this needs to happen for this to be good. Okay, if you move to the next step, this is happening to make me stronger. And then when you're in that realm, then it's like, okay.
And that feels better too.
Yeah, so now what you're doing is you're lessening your preferences. Then there's a whole level where there's no preference.
I do that in business all the time. Like deals will fall apart, right? I'll be working on this big deal or something, or somebody's trying to buy this piece of property and it will fall out of contract. And agents and brokers, will get, destroyed by this. Oh, I put so much hours into this. I did this, I did that. And I'm like, well, this just means, there's either something greater out there, or maybe this deal fell apart because, a liability factor I could have never known, all sorts of shit.
And like even that, those are still like stories, but those are positive stories. So,
exactly. But that's what I mean is I like to feed the positive stories.
Yeah, and then when you get to that level in your positive story, then you go to a level where you don't need any stories. There's no preferences, no nothing. All right, and those are different levels. We're always trying to uplift to those levels, and there are people that live there. Yeah, like this is exactly what
the sages,
but even like all the non-dualists, talk about
Rupert Spira. He's great.
Michael Singer is
Michael Singer is great. Yeah,
they talk about this where like when you get rid of preference, life is just like, well, think about when we were children. We had very little preference. Why? Because we didn't have enough experience to even have a preference to it. And then we started gaining a lot of preferences, and over time we had a lot of preferences. It's like, I prefer this. We're having broccoli tonight. I prefer something else.
It's so funny you say that, like the kid thing too, because I realized that yesterday. So yesterday was Father's Day. We did the get together, had both of our families over, barbecue, all that. Kayla left to go to a concert, and I had the kids. Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's do something. It's only 4:30, and they're not going to go to bed until like 9 because it's summer. Yeah. So I was like, all right, we got some time to kill. I was like, let's go to Santan Village. The outdoor mall park.
It's 115.
I know, right? Great idea. But they had misters. It wasn't that bad. So I got there and stuff, and I realized like the kids, they had no preference. No. It wasn't like we have to go here, or we need to do this. There was no preference the entire day. And I was like, you guys want to go to this store? And they'd be like, yeah, let's do it. And we just walk in, we start looking at stuff, and it'd be funny, and we'd have like cool things that would happen, or funny moments that would happen. And I was like, this is awesome.
That's the brilliant, and that's the childlike state. So
there was no preference.
No, and so someone could say when we were young, we had ignorance on our side, but we no longer have ignorance on our side, but we have wisdom. And we can get back there. And the wisdom is let go of your preferences as much as you can. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have a great time. Because I can't tell you, I have people that like their preferences are so rigid.
That's a lot of us. That's like a majority of people.
So rigid. Yeah. And I'm like, they'll have these brief moments when they're with me of excitement. Oh, excuse me, waiter, there's too many ice cubes in here.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, something as ridiculous as that.
Oh, I didn't mean to take all of them out.
Yeah.
I'm like, next thing you know, you're going to fucking die of thirst. I might just drink the fucking...
Literally, though.
No, I'm serious. It's weird.
But you're right. But, like, we live in... And it's weird because we're kind of, like, promoting that rigid type of structure and saying, like, oh, no, yeah. Like, I don't know how to explain it. We live in a society now where, like...
Well, there's this
one wrong thing, and it's like all of a sudden everything's like gone to hell, or we can't be friends, or it's like whoa.
But there's that, because these all exist at once. Mm-hmm. The earth that says this must be my way. If it's not, if you're not on my side, you are now my mortal enemy. Yeah. And you've seen this within families, which is weird. And then there's another side where it's all good, but I'm aware of the other side, and they're not wrong. It's just not constructive. I know it's not constructive. It's no place I want to hang out. But they're not wrong in their logic, because their logic is confined. If you're living a 4x4 cell, your logic of square footage is 4x4. Like that's all you got.
They'll get around it.
Yeah, exactly. You're living in 12 square foot of space below you. That's all you're living in. So, or 16 or whatever.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you meant.
So when you start to live in that way, you start to understand that, no, you're the one creating the limited idea by a belief, by holding on to one. And one was given to you. You didn't conduct this. You didn't create it.
You didn't even want it.
Yeah, someone passed it on to you. Like, here.
Somebody told you this was the way.
Yeah, you got it. And they here, hold this. Don't ever drop that, by the way. Yeah. And then they disappear. I'm like, where'd that person go? Like, I can't even. I'm holding on to this. Like, why are you holding on to that thing? Because when I was like 10 years old, someone told me to hold on to this and never let it go. Mm-hmm. I was like, do you ever, like, what happens? You're like, oh, I have fucking no idea.
I've never tried.
I never tried. Then when you're like, oh, it's so liberating. Yeah. It's like, holy shit. Yeah.
I love that. That's a great example, because that's what this experience is. We get born into it. you're this race, you're this gender, you're this religion, you're from this economic slice, and then all right, now spend your that's your character. Go out there and play it.
Yeah, and then we create these really weird scenarios. In order for me to become wealthy, some billionaire has to become poor.
Yeah, right.
Or give all their money away. I'm like, no.
And we know that's not the case.
No, because everyone has their own pie.
Well,
it's not just one pie we're eating from.
And I just saw this article like 2 days ago that was talking about how we have 877 billionaires now. Okay?
Yeah.
So back when...
Just in Arizona.
Okay, right. But I mean, like, okay, let's say 20 years ago, we didn't have that many billionaires.
No, those were countries.
Yeah, literally. So now it's like, okay, hold on. So we have 877 of these motherfuckers running around.
How many
did one of them get less rich because the other one popped up or sprouted up?
And the millionaires didn't disappear.
No, in fact, our millionaire numbers are ridiculous now.
Yeah.
We have like hundreds of thousands of millionaires.
I'm a millionaire. It's like, that's old.
Yeah, right. Like now it's kind of not even a thing.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of like remember like Austin Powers, when Dr. Evil was trying to take over the world. I want $1 million. Like,
I love that.
Like,
not a lot.
Oh, sorry. I want $1 million.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious. He told me that's not a lot anymore because they were like bodies were frozen or whatever.
Yeah, can't even get a house for that now.
Yeah, you can't even buy your home in California for that. That was a good example. But so it's funny because when you think by that fashion, then it would be impossible for that to happen. You know, that means these billionaires would all be fighting for that same portion of the pie, and that's not the case. That's not what happened. And everyone knows this. We print money. Like it's water.
Well, it's a game.
It's all the time.
It's a game. Because like the more people that get involved in the game, they have like if you have Monopoly and say you're playing with 4 people, you can have the amount of money. But if there was a Monopoly game that can house 20 people, there has to be a lot more paper money there, right?
Yeah.
Because
that's what's happening with
you all have to divvy it up. So that's what's happening. But when it all funnels in one area, that person's obviously creating a constructive way, or people can look at it and say they're stealing. But nonetheless, it doesn't make you poor. You're talking about a tangible idea of something that represents energy. Now, mind you, I'm not saying when you head down this path that we're talking about, the money you need will be exactly there and more of it too, so you don't worry about it. Just like
absolutely
every time I take a breath in, I release the oxygen and it turns into carbon dioxide. I'm not worried about this might be my last breath. It's not like I have a plastic bag over my head, right? So same thing with money.
Same thing with food. I love that example.
Create, in our economics, we create the plastic bag over our head. Like, what do you mean? Like, we only have a couple of breaths here, so you better save them. Yeah.
Take partial breaths.
Yeah, and then it's somebody else's fault to have the plastic bag over my head. I'm like, no, like, you have an infinite amount of oxygen.
Just like there's an infinite amount of money that can be printed.
Yeah.
In fact, if we really were taught how this all works, like the Federal Reserve, people hear that and they think, oh, there's a governmental organization. No, it's not. It's a private institution. And like
the government tries to influence it.
The way we use like words and the way we talk about it in media, 98% of people, if you ask them about the Federal Reserve, they're going to think it's a branch of the government, except they're not going to know it's a private banking institution of multi-trillionaire people that we don't know their names because they stay out of the drama.
Yeah,
and they're the ones printing and creating this money and charging us interest on it.
And guess what? The reason they do that is because if more money in your bank account makes you feel better, they'll dump it in there.
Yeah, right.
But that's a goal where we're talking about direction. What is your direction in life? And your direction shouldn't be money. Money is
that's
the thing
where a lot of people.
Money is the thing that happens along the roadside, that comes and moves in that way. What is your direction? Your direction is to uplift humanity. Everyone came here to
serve others. Yeah, that's what I always tell people. If you're serving others, you won't have to worry about money.
Yeah, like a lot of psychologists that get into that are working in the field right now started realizing, hey, if someone comes into me and has anxiety and depression, the reason someone has anxiety and depression is they're always thinking about what can happen to themselves. Mm-hmm. So they tell them, it's like, go and volunteer. It's like, yeah, like, oh. Here's the medication.
Yeah, right. Here's your prescription.
And all of a sudden, just volunteer 1 day a week. And then when they do the volunteer, it's like, okay, how'd you feel that day? It's like, well, surprisingly, I felt good. It's because you were giving your attention to some other human being. Therefore, you weren't giving yourself attention to what was wrong. All of a sudden, when you forgot anything was wrong in your life, the energy flew through your body. So we don't have to actually go out there and work at a soup kitchen to know this. They just did this to get people to understand that.
That's really cool.
Because if everyone was doing this, we wouldn't need a damn soup kitchen, by the way.
Yeah.
But when you start to forget about your thoughts and give your attention to somebody else, you don't have a problem. That's why, like, a firefighter going in to save someone, their energy flowing through them is what makes them go through the house and quickly go through it. Why? Because there's a loved one out there that's going to be devastated if the loved one in there is going to die. And I'm like, no, not on my watch today. I'm going in there and getting them out. They are so focused on the bigger picture than themselves. Mm-hmm. But if a firefighter's like, I don't want to get burnt today.
Yeah. Got to worry about it. I got a party next week.
Yeah. You don't want to be running in that fire with that idea.
Yeah.
And so when they do that, they get this great thrill. And if they understand what's actually happening is they're looking at a very big picture scenario and they're getting everyone out alive as quick as they can. And they're really good. I'm going to go and do this. Military guys do this well. They go in. My job is not to keep myself alive. My job is to keep my guy in front of me alive. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, all of a sudden you're alert. Mm-hmm. You're steadfast, focused, and you have a direction now. My direction is this, not my goal. My direction. And when your direction goes, you have energy flowing through the body. You feel good.
Super powerful. It's funny you say that. I was just talking with a ex-military guy. He's probably in his 70s. Mm-hmm. They had me over for a dinner party. It's a client. And he was talking about that, how when he went on, I think he said Vietnam, but I don't know if he's young enough for that. Or if he's because it was some war. It's some type of combat.
No, because I'm 57. I'll be 58.
He was definitely mid-70s. This guy.
Yeah. So Vietnam started like in 65 and went into 70. So
it's possible. Yeah. So probably Vietnam. He was just talking about what you just said, which was I was watching the person in front of me, and I knew the guy behind me was watching me, and that's the only thing that got me through. Yeah. And it was cool how he was talking about that. And to hear you bring that up, that just happened a couple of weeks ago. That's cool. Yeah. Because you're right. It's like it takes the attention off of this character, this identity,
and the energy starts flowing. Now we don't have to put ourselves in dangerous situations to accomplish this. Mm-mm. This is where, like a lot of musicians, even people in the military and other stuff like that, when they're calm, they don't know how to let that energy flow through them. Right. So musicians, same thing. When they're on stage, they're thinking big picture. They're not like, hey, everyone look at me. Mm-hmm. No, they did that. They wouldn't be able to sing or play the instrument they're doing it. Exactly. Once the song starts, they enter into this field, and the energy is flowing through them. That's why they're able to go for hours, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone's bopping. But when the song ends and they go backstage, it's like all of a sudden, I'm no longer thinking big picture, so then I'm going to do some drugs.
Yep.
But once they start to realize this, they can take that energy and keep it open, whether they're playing, whether they're sitting on their bus, whether they're sitting in their bunker, and just sit there in amazement. And when they do that, they're constantly alert, the actions are different, all right? One isn't like, this isn't wrong over this, but the action's going to be different in every situation. But the energy flowing through you can always be there. You can always have it coming through you. The action then is easy to accomplish, if you will, or the direction is easy to move towards. So, which brings us to the point where we're talking about this and understanding is that article that you found.
Oh, that was great. So, I sent that to you, 3-4 days ago?
Yeah, because when I was young, I would hear this stuff, right? Like, okay, well, how the fuck do I get there?
Yep.
Like everyone's telling me, yeah, I get this. I'm in a really good place. I'm listening to this lecture. I'm at a conference and like, this feels really good. But how do I get there? How do I stay there? And now scientists are knowing that what we know for over 5,000 years is your breath.
Yep.
So how did the article go?
So this was great. I saw this and I sent it to Frank.
Yeah, right, but
you should pull it up. So I sent you what was on the Smithsonian. They had an article on it, but I saw it on Instagram originally, and then I Googled it. It was June 12th of this year, so it wasn't that long ago. What are we at right now? It's like June. That was like 6 days ago. June 12th, this came out. So they did this study where scientists were able to determine, and I'll let you read it, Frank, and stuff.
Well, this one here, it just kind of says a new study published in the Journal of current biology. The last week's found the people that can reliably identify by their breathing patterns. So scientists are able to identify people with their breathing patterns, whether they're depressed, anxious, what have you.
Yeah, but they said that it was just as like much as like a fingerprint or like an eye pupil, like by how you're breathing, it's like a specific signature of you. And what they're able to measure is they could tell if somebody was agitated, depressed, anxious, etc. through their breathing pattern. And the same thing for if they were not, or if they were healthy and, strong, performing, in a good headspace, they could see this through the breathing pattern. Well, what does this tell us? We don't need to go to all this therapy for depression, anxiety. Well, change your goddamn breathing.
Yeah, because unlike your fingerprint, you can't change that, because I've tried. That's why I'm not a criminal. But you can actually change your breathing pattern.
Yeah.
It can take effort. Just like
it does take effort.
Everyone could play piano. Everyone
I consciously breathe.
As long as you have fingers. But how much time and effort you're going to put into it is going to be a direct relationship. Not everyone's going to be Chopin in the piano field, but how much time and energy, direction you move into will be a direct indicator of how good you are. There's no simple way around this. But why aren't you enjoying playing the piano? Why aren't you enjoying the breath work? Because the reason is, if everyone, 100% of people that come in, that I talk to or whatever, like, I don't feel good. And it's funny as hell. I'm like, well, do me a favor, just give me 3 deep breaths. Deep breath, and all of a sudden, I'm like, how do you feel better? Then you go, you go right back down.
Monkey mind.
Like, let's do a breathing in. Like, every time you feel the need to explain to me your problem, just start breathing. And you'll be breathing a lot, by the way, because you don't, like, I don't give a fuck about your problem. I care about your nervous system and your response to it. All of a sudden, the thing that is there, it's real. It's not a problem anymore. It's a situation. That's all it is.
See, that's the thing, is we get so caught up in the details. We think the details matter.
My brain capacity is so limited where if a lot of things come at me, it crashes. So what I do is I have to let everything pass on so it doesn't crash. I don't grab onto it. So it's kind of like, instead of walking around with like a 4x8 plank of wood, I walk around with a screen now. So there's still stuff not hitting me, but the air's still passing through. It's a lot easier to hold a screen in a windstorm. But man, a 4x8 piece of plywood will freaking send you flying, my friend.
Yeah,
you can't fight against that.
No. And
that's what we do. We hold up these stories. like let them go. They're gonna kill you. It
reminds me of that story of that lady I saw. I can't remember her name. She's a spiritual lecturer, teacher now, but she was talking about how she had a pretty rough story. Like, it was by any means anybody would call it sad and hard and all that. But she brought it in front of this sensei, sage master, and pours her heart out, the poor woman. And the guy goes, "Are you done now? Are you done yet?" And she was like, "What?
Like, why would you say
I
that?
couldn't believe, these horrid things." And he's like, "Okay, so let's move these off to the side now." And to somebody at that level, of course, these are just a bunch of stories. Great. Yeah. It's just, again, shows the levels of where people are at. Yeah. That feels so real when you're down here in the basement. But
if you're talking to other people in the basement, they'll concur with it. They'll agree with you. But when you're talking to someone,
and they want to keep you there, trust me. Misery loves company.
At some level, this woman knew she wasn't talking to somebody in the basement, even though she was in the basement momentarily.
Yeah.
So she wanted to be uplifted, but she probably like, what?
It was a slap in the face to her, holy shit.
Well, that slap in the face is what wakes
us up.
Woke
her up. Yep.
Yeah, it wakes us up. And I like getting slapped in the face a lot.
Yep. No, truly.
Yeah. Because then if you're awake, no one can slap you in the face, because you don't need to be slapped in the face.
And that's what I'm hoping, these protests, riots, wars, all this crazy shit going on in our world. This is one big slap in the face for us.
We've been doing this forever, and it's never worked.
Yeah.
It's never worked. Again, Mother Teresa understood that during the Vietnam period. Gandhi understood it. He had peaceful marches, not protests against the British. So when the British left, they were actually friends with India. So it's like, this can be happening. But it's the frequency of the cortisol and the downside, like the anger that people get addicted to. I'm like, Yeah, but there's a new drug out there. It's way
Called
better.
love.
It's called love, man.
And it's the best. It really is.
It's actually
And there's
not
no hangover.
It's like the oldest drug on the planet, by the way, and it feels so much fucking better.
Yeah.
And when you let go of shit and move on.
And forgive and connect.
Yeah, and this is not a passive way of living. This is the opposite of passive.
Exactly.
Passive way.
Because people try to paint it
there's
that
so
way.
much strength in this. Like, So like it's someone like I'm in that state. Someone takes a swing at me. I just move back and duck.
Strength
to the
and
point
surrender.
I get tired. I'm like, are you done yet? I'm like, are you done? Because nothing this is phasing me.
But-
I don't sit there and take it.
But you know what I mean? Like surrender we were taught was weak growing up. No, there's strength in surrender. And it's the way you're looking at it, you know?
Yeah, because when you surrender, you find a loop and you go. Because if I'm stuck in turbulence, right? Say in the ocean, I get caught by a wave. It starts pulling me down. And if I'm holding on and trying to swim, I don't even know what direction I'm swimming. But if you let go and relax, you float. There's a natural state of floating to the surface.
Interesting.
Yeah, so another
know.
way to do it is you blow bubbles out, and wherever the bubbles go, that's where you move. But when you're disoriented, you're fighting and grabbing, and all of a sudden you probably swim into the bottom of the ocean, which is going to make your situation even worse because you're disoriented. But when you get into disoriented, just let go and relax. Your body will float to the surface. That's nature.
Yeah.
So let go. So we think when we're holding on to something, we think it's keeping us from falling. I'm like, no, it's keeping you from floating. I don't need more air in the hot air balloon. I need to cut the tether that's holding me to the ground. There's plenty of air in a hot air balloon. And then let it go. And then once it gets to the level where you're at, then the direction comes. And next thing you know, you're moving in a direction.
Have you ever done a hot air balloon, by the way?
I went up in one that was actually...
Did you?
No, it was funny.
I've never been on one.
It was tethered.
Story of our lives.
Yeah, well,
but that's cool. I've just never been inside one. Like
they used to have they had a hot air balloon festival every year out here.
Yeah,
and it was at what's that park on McQueen.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Mesquite. I forgot the name of the park. But anyway, Tristan was really young.
Okay.
So we went up and won. It was funny. It was
but just like a quick trip?
So it went up and came down, but it was tethered to the point where it wasn't going to go in any direction other than straight up and down.
I've never been in one. That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm kind of afraid of heights. That's why.
Well,
it would freak me out.
You're really, when you go in a hot air balloon, it's an exploratory way. Why? Because you can affect going up and down, but you have to get caught in the jet stream and it takes you. There's no like rudder or steering wheel in that thing. It's not like a sail where you can turn the sail or the boom to get the wind to come in a different direction, slow it down. This is like, and that's how life is. The hot air balloon will get into the flow of the stream, and that's where we're supposed to go. So the direction, you don't have to figure that out. It's already there. You just have to let go of everything you think you know to get into the direction. And when you do that, all of a sudden these amazing things pop up. That's why we get into like the law of attraction and people trying to manifest stuff. The truth is, really at a deep level, we don't manifest anything. We end up in the field where the manifestation.
Yeah, because everything is manifest.
There is nothing new under the sun.
Everything's here.
So I want to go experience more things. So okay, well, how do you do that? Well, let go of your expectation of what's supposed to happen. And those are the greatest experience you'll ever have, manifestation-wise. Because when we were children, we didn't know enough to know that even going to like I remember going to the beach as a kid, and every summer at the beach I would go to, these bulldozers would come in and they would build up. It was about 20 feet high, a sand pile, right?
Oh, for like sandcastles?
Well, it was a mountain. It was like 20 or 30 feet high. And I remember, and then the top platform was probably maybe 5 feet wide.
Well, why did they build this?
For kids to play on.
Oh, cool.
So it was like you had the ocean and everything. You had all these other things. You had the boardwalk. You had all these other amusement things. But me and my friends liked that the best because we get on the top and you had like a 5-foot running. You jump and you see how far you can get down. We're falling 15 feet.
Holy crap.
But you're not, because when you hit, you're on this trajectory. And you hit landing in sand. It was the closest thing to flying I've ever had.
That's cool.
And we were literally launching out 15 feet down, but we hit. So like this weird, stupid stuff like that, like no expectation, you know? And all of a sudden, but now it's like, oh, I don't like the color of that ride. I don't like that. I'm like, oh no, we just went there. I'm like, hey, and we're like, what? Like there wasn't instructions on this sand
I
pile.
don't like what the people who built that ride stand
someone
for.
didn't have to put a sign saying, okay, the proper way to use a sand pile. Like we just went up there, and then we played like war up top, like you had to fight.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know, that was a great thing, like a sumo wrestling who would fall off.
Yeah.
And then we started running and see how far out we could jump. And one time I made it almost to the base where I hit. Boy, it's probably best I didn't hit the base because that would have been a direct drop. Yeah. So you hit somewhere and you slide.
15 feet. That's like falling off a roof.
Weird little things like the trees in the woods, not creating some other type of apparatus for me to play on. Like I didn't need Disneyland. Like I never went when I was a kid or Disney World because I lived on the East Coast. I had the woods in my backyard.
I've never been to Disney World either.
Yeah. Yes. If you walk in Disney World in the beginning of the park in Disneyland, it looks the same. Disney World's a little bit bigger, but when you walk into the entrance, it's like deja vu. But nonetheless.
See, that's cool though.
We start structuring things and try to make it the way we are, and I'm like, loosen that up. You don't have to get rid of it completely. Like this is something you want to work towards, but all of a sudden it's like, why do I even have a preference? And all of a sudden, whatever comes my way, I'm like, okay, let me try it at least. Like, okay, yeah, my preference is still too strong to like that, but at least I'm willing to try it, right?
That's another cool thing that kids do. Yeah. Is that they're like open to try things.
Like I remember as a kid, the first time which was my parents, they put broccoli. I'm like, no, I'm not eating that.
Like, screw that.
I know. My dad's like, how do you know you haven't tried it yet? And I ate it. I'm like, see?
Tastes
I'm
like
really
shit.
damn good. I'm good at this game. Like I could just tell. I had this past life intuition
that tastes like shit.
Not going to taste good.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, kids will, like, I don't know. It's cool. Like hanging around Kayla's kids and my experiences with them. It's like really eye opening on a spiritual level for me because I'll watch like different things as we're doing them. I'm like, this is crazy.
And as the adults around the children, if they don't start saying, hey, there's a time and a place, we stop saying that. They'll never create the anxiety of, oh my God, life's now, it's over.
And that's what we're trying to go,
Yeah, but we're still very responsible beings. We have the word responsibility when it's played out, it's the ability to respond, period. It's not like you have to do this, you have to do that. Like the ability to respond to whatever's come your way. If you get into the stream and start flowing, you respond to it. Why? Because I'm conscious. If I'm unconscious, I get caught off guard. The simplest thing could scare the shit out of me, right? If I'm just like oblivious and someone walks in, oh my God, they're scary. I'm like, it's now I have to give everyone a cowbell because I need to know if they're coming.
Yourself.
Yeah, or the first sign of hearing the cowbell will still startle me. All it sounds like, why? Because you're so flippant in your head that you don't even know what's around you. So when you're in a room, look at the room. Notice the fan. Notice the plant. Notice whatever it is without giving it any meaning. And you're alert. It's that simple. But the breath is what helps regulate the nervous system. So if I got to stop breathing and I could change going from having anxiety to not anxiety, all of a sudden the situation that's in front of you is still there. It never left. It's still there. But why isn't the anxiety gone? Because the outside thing had nothing to do with it. It was your belief about the outside thing to create it. So now all of a sudden you're now living in a 4x4 cell in your life. You have a plastic bag around your head, wondering why you don't get much oxygen.
And this applies to everything.
Everything.
And that's what's so cool about it. And for those listening, if you want to check it out, I think it came out June 12th, and it was Current Biology, right? What's the name of it? Yeah, Current Biology was the people who did the study. So
yeah, Current Biology.
That's awesome. Yeah, so just Google June 12th Current Biology breathing.
Oh yeah,
and it'll come up.
Yeah, and then at the bottom, I don't know if I've clicked this on, it goes to an article. That's probably what it is now. I'm going to get lost with this, but yeah, it obviously, this is the beautiful thing is like when I would watch stuff and they tell you like, oh, don't like, it's bad to, it's not good to think negative. And then the conversation ends. I'm like, well, do you have a fucking alternative? Like, you don't just tell someone, don't do this. You shouldn't. Like, I remember I watched a video about like the eggs. So a healthy egg is supposed to be an orange yolk, not a yellow yolk, right? Yolk. I said yolk, but yolk.
I know what you mean.
And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, they're actually fooling you with the yolks. They're changing the color of the eggs and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, you want to follow up? Like, who's not doing that? Like, why would you tell me this? Now I'm like, I don't fucking no idea. Now, I'm like, I don't give a fuck either way.
Yeah.
But it was just funny. Like, you didn't offer an alternative. Like, this, like, you shouldn't be.
Just be worried.
Yeah, just be worried. Yeah, thank you. Like, just be worried.
Just be scared.
Yeah, you're pretty much fucked.
Dude, that's like half our news articles.
Yeah, they don't give a solution.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, dude,
this
I saw one the other day that said the China new strain of COVID deadlier than first comes out, and that was it.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, exactly. You're pretty much screwed.
You're screwed.
Yeah, just grab a rabbit's foot and do the best. So this one actually in current biology, they give you a solution. It's called breath work.
Yeah.
So that's the cool thing about it. Don't tell me how shitty my life was without telling me a solution to it.
Well, it's just great because I hope articles like this continue to go mainstream like we're seeing, because it's like, this is going to change the game. Hey, look, okay, there's a direct link, just like your fingerprint, like your pupil.
Dude,
your pattern of breathing matters.
Everywhere I turn, is breathwork coming up. Even Tony Robbins is now doing breathwork at his seminars, at
Super
his
cool
conferences. Yeah. So why? Because if you can, Wim Hof for me was the first one to indicate this outside with the intellectual science of it. Now when I was younger, like because I played sports, and one of the sports I played. You don't play boxing, but you box. You had to breathe in and out your nose because you had a mouth guard and you had to keep your mouth shut so you
didn't lose any teeth.
Well, it wasn't so much the teeth; it was the exposure of your jaw.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if your jaw's open, it's.
I thought it was just so in case somebody punches you in the face.
If someone's jaw's open, I could tap it and break it.
Oh, wow.
No, you want to lock your jaw down. You want to strengthen. You want to lock it.
That makes sense.
You're not gonna getting punched with love. You're not gonna
break your teeth out.
Yeah.
Not like a hockey puck.
No.
Yeah.
No, a hockey puck is a concentrated thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you want to actually bite down to strengthen your jaw.
Okay.
So you had to breathe in and out your mouth. You could breathe in your nose. You could breathe in your nose and out your mouth slowly, but you still want to keep that locked down. Mm-hmm. So you had to learn to do that. And by doing that, I always felt great when I was fighting, even though I was getting punched. Mm-hmm. In other sports too, when you're working out and doing that, we realized it wasn't just the moving around. It was the amount of oxygen going in. It was upregulating my serotonins, all my natural hormones that make me feel good. So people are like, oh, my knees are hurting. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Just sit on the couch and breathe. Mm-hmm. I'm like, because this is what happens if I get injured. And the only time I felt good was when I worked out or went to work or whatever like this. I'm fucked. Like, why? Like, just breathe. And again, Woody from my gym, the breathwork coach I used for working out, he was telling me that he was working with a guy that only had one lung, but only 40% of that one lung was working. But he got him up to a level where he wasn't tired. So he's just blowing up that 40%. So that 40% opening up the rib cage more, was getting enough oxygen to the body where the body became vital again. Mm-hmm. So when you're like, oh my God, I'm screwed. I'm like, no, you're not. That guy has to breathe a lot more than I do. Like, it has to put a lot more focus. Again, he has more direction towards breathing than I do because, I've been an athlete my whole life, but I still put direction into deeper, breathing deeper, see where I can go, and now I have other experiences. But that direction is what's changing his life for the better. And I'm like, oh my God, you're not gonna believe what happened. Oh my God, I'm not gonna believe what happened. I went down this direction and let it pull me in. You're not gonna believe what happened. That's the stories you tell. Just like the kid. Hey, I would say, Ma, you're not gonna believe it. I met my best friend. But that wasn't a goal. The kid went to the park and met their best friend. Mm-hmm. Hey, you're not gonna believe what happened. This is how we want to live our life. I don't give a shit if you're 90 years old.
Yeah.
And breathing could help regulate your body. Then there'll be a point where the breathing is just what you do. It becomes part of you, just like we eat, and all of a sudden, if you eat enough junk food, you're going to get tired of it, and then you're just going to naturally start to eat healthy. If you get into these states, you don't have to push anything away. You don't have to denounce anything. It just won't fucking occur to you to eat that. It won't occur to you to stay up all night. It won't, unless you're really in a creative space. It won't occur for you to do any of that. It doesn't occur for me to get angry anymore. Mm-hmm. Why? Because my body's so used to being calm.
That's
It doesn't occur for me to even do that.
That's totally a thing, because I've recognized that with like just the stupid state of the world, the things popping up, and like I used to, 6-7 years ago, I used to be like, oh, what the fuck, or get upset, and all. No, there's no reason to get upset about any of that.
Yeah, I'm not, and I'm not I'm not avoiding the news because I can't avoid.
I'm very aware of what's going on.
But it doesn't bother me anymore because I understand the higher realms of what's going on. Just like.
Well, I just refuse to give my power away.
Kayla knew the story in a dream was going to work out.
Yep.
So then she learned to relax and eat. Once she indicated in her dream that this all works out, she was no longer nervous in the dream.
And the dream would then start again because she would hit play again. Because she like had this moment where she realized she would hit stop because she was able to pause the dream, which was crazy. But then everything stopped, so she couldn't go further. Like she couldn't complete it or like allow it to play out. And so she had to go through it. But she was like going through this, what would be scary. She was kind of like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's why the phrase.
I know this works out.
Yeah, that's where the term, where the phrase comes in when you're going through hell.
Yeah, don't stop.
Keep going.
Yeah, don't stop. Why are you stopping?
If you stop, your feet are going to burn really bad.
Yeah.
But that's why we need to do the fire codes. And people walk, because Tony Robbins still does that. Is actually Jeff Loback.
Yeah, the gentleman we had on the show.
Yeah, he organized those at his.
That was his role at the.
I ran into a breathwork class one time.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
just recently.
It was so. If you keep moving, you're gonna be fine. If you stop because you panic, that's when you get hurt.
Yeah, that's when your feet will get burned.
It's when you keep moving. There's something natural about the generative energy that never catches up with you. Mm-hmm. Just keep moving. Nothing can grab you.
That's another thing in business that I implement. Like I'll watch myself getting kind of like stressed or caught up in something or overthinking, and I'm like, okay, Mike, you got to just go on to the next task. You got to just keep moving.
Yeah. Do you know why I don't have to dust my fans? Because they're always on.
Oh, yeah, right.
Dust can't settle.
It's interesting.
If I turn them off.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so if we keep moving, and you don't have to keep at this erratic, because I like to keep moving. Because guess what? When I'm sleeping, I'm sitting still. My body's still moving internally. My energy is always moving. Movement is life, right? The sun doesn't just stop getting pulled through the Milky Way, and the Earth doesn't stop spinning like, oh yeah, hey, this is the one day of a year, or it's every 10 years the Earth stops. Like everything, it doesn't work that way. There's something constantly shifting and changing and shifting and changing. And what happens is like, I want to shift and change to this. I'm like, you don't even know what the hell you want. But really, really what we want is to feel that energy coming through our body. So like there was like the energy running through my body on that sand pile at the beach was the same energy when I first kissed Sally.
Yeah. Christmas morning.
Yeah. Christmas morning. Yeah. But if I say like, if I give it indications like, oh, I haven't felt that. So now I'm like, 50 something years old. I go to the beach. I'm looking for that sand pile. They no longer do it anymore. I'm like, motherfucker.
I can't be happy.
Can't get back there. Yeah.
You can sit down,
or I get
start
there,
your breathing, and get right back into that state.
Or I get there in the sand piles. I have to kick all these little kids off. I'm like, step aside, motherfuckers.
Break a leg. Yeah. Jumping off this 15-foot sand pile.
But it had nothing to do with that. Although there was such freedom in my body that it occurred for me to do in the direction of finding that. And it found me, or I found it, however you want to look at it. But I didn't manifest it. But then when you're excited, your expression is starting a business, getting into a relationship, buying a new house. These things they work out in your life. It doesn't mean you have nothing, but now I'm actually having the horse in front of the cart rather than the cart in front of the horse. And life is so much different. When you have very little expectations, no expectations, very little preferences and no preferences. Life becomes, when you have no preferences, life is more amazing. When you have a little bit of preference, life is really good. When you have a lot of preferences,
it's rigid. It's hard.
It's fucking rigid.
Yep.
Like, motherfucker, it's 100.
I don't like this. That's not okay. This needs to be changed.
Yeah, like I've been living out in Arizona for 26 years, and I used to get tired of it. I don't get tired of it anymore. What I mean is people talking about the weather in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking hot out there.
That's every
I'm like,
conversation
yeah,
I've
the
had the
sun's
last
also
week.
bright. You know, if fucking leaves are green. It's crazy.
That is
Yeah.
every
I'm like,
summer,
it's
every
Phoenix
person,
in the
every
summer.
exchange.
We're in the desert. This is what happens.
Yep.
Oh my God, you can believe how hot it is? I'm like, yeah, I've been here for 26 years. I've been
Never
in-
changed.
Never changed.
Happen every year,
Nope.
like
I
clockwork.
can't believe it's hot out. I'm like,
No, you're totally right.
yeah, it's like being in Alaska in the winter. I'm like, I can't believe it's cold.
That was literally me yesterday grilling. I had the grill on. It was like midday. It was 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm in dead heat, with a 500 degree, 450
Yeah, like
degree.
you got to add into that. Yeah.
air
Everyone's
hit me
sitting
every
inside
time.
watching Mike make
Literally,
fucking
just out there grilling the carne asada, and I was like, "Dear God, it's so hot."
But you know what probably cool is when you turn the grill off,
Yeah, right.
it probably cooled off again.
Exactly. Then when I came inside, it made it that much nicer and cooler.
That's one of the things I do to acclimate myself in the summertime. Is you go into a sauna.
Yeah.
It's really healthy for you, but you go into a sauna, and usually a typical sauna at gym is about $180, 200 degrees.
Is that how out there?
Oh yeah.
Damn,
yeah,
that's
you want
hot.
Yeah, you want them up there, right? So about 180 is usually a standard in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So you go in there, like start out like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I think anyone can do.
Yeah.
But I could get up to 15 to 20 minutes.
You'll sit in there that long?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But what happens is in the desert summer, you go outside, like you're all sweaty, and you go outside. Yeah, for a brief moment, it feels cool. For a brief moment.
That's funny. That is true. If you're
Yeah.
coming out of 120, you're like,
And then
hey,
also-
this 110 doesn't feel
And,
bad.
yeah, anyone that lives in Arizona also appreciates this too. In the summertime, when you go to a movie, they freaking knock, and it's so dry out here, they knock the air down to where.
It's like 68, man.
Yeah, but it's funny. My wife always takes a sweater. I'm
Yeah.
too manly to take a sweater. Like, no, I'm gonna shiver my fucking ass off because I'm a guy. It's like, honey, you want to pay? I'm like, well, no, I'm a man. I don't
You're
do
like,
that
I'm
shit.
totally fine.
I'm gonna do the Wim Hof way.
Kayla
I'm
brings
gonna
a blanket.
breathe through it, yeah.
She brings a blanket every movie we see.
Imagine I'm a dude. I can't bring a blanket.
Right.
That's why Wim Hof has me breathing. I'm gonna regulate my temperature. But when I get out of the movie theater, I go outside for like 5 seconds. That hot is just the most beautiful feeling
Feels
thing in
good.
the world. And yeah.
Well,
But
actually,
I look forward to that. It's just,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I had that feeling yesterday walking around the Santan place. There's a few stores we went in that were super cold, and when
Yeah.
I was like, I can't wait to get outside,
Yeah.
because you're right, they do keep it so cold.
Yeah, and so going in and out of stores, shopping in the summertime, if anyone's scared to kind of move to Arizona, Mike can tell you experience. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's actually very fun. It's
not too
it's
bad.
called contrast. Go
Yeah.
from hot to cold, hot to cold.
Contrast is a great way to phrase that.
Yeah, it's just the body doesn't know what to make of it.
Contrast is what this whole damn 3D experience is, this
Yes.
physical experience.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't have this contrast, we would not be able to,
Yeah.
go, what? There's some other part.
Yeah,
There's
'cause
spiritual side of us.
When you get rid of the preference part or weaken up the preference, it doesn't mean you don't feel hot. It doesn't mean you don't feel cold.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't get bothered by it. Yeah, like you don't, you're shivering. Oh, this is kind of fun. Like, oh, whatever. Like, this is cool. But you don't get annoyed. I see people get annoyed. It's too cold. It's too hot. I'm like, but why are you getting annoyed? I don't get that. Why are you shoving the energy? It shouldn't be this way. But it is this way. So not going with the flow is non-direction in life. If you want direction in life, you better go with the flow, because the direction of flow of the river is a direction.
That's it.
Just get in it. So, yeah.
I like the river analogy because it's true. Like a lot of us are swimming against a stream,
Good
and
luck
we're
with
saying,
that.
"What's happening? Why
It's like
isn't
a
life
treadmill.
working
You
out?"
get nowhere.
Yeah. But that's where the majority of people, I feel like, are going through it.
That's why, like,
We're swimming against the flow.
this is where the idea of things coming easily to us. When I get into the river, first, I was always flowing downstream, but then I got to a point where I was getting older, and people were like, hey, you might want to stop swimming upstream. So you start swimming upstream, and you're like, oh my God, you're just exhausted every day, and all of a sudden, and then one day it's like some old guy with a long white beard. It's like, oh, why are you swimming upstream? Like, because someone told me there's something up there. I'm like, they lied to you. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I let go. I'm like, now I'm back to being
Row your boat.
gently down the stream. And if you're going down the stream, you don't really need to row your damn boat.
Nope.
It's being rowed by the way. You
That's
just
exactly
steer
it.
it with you use the paddle as an udder, a rudder.
And that's how this life was meant to be lived.
Yeah, exactly. So because I swim upstream, I appreciate the downstream flow. Where I understood that when I was a kid.
Yeah, I
Now-
swam upstream my whole life.
Yeah. When you were a kid, you probably went with it. Until
Oh,
until
yeah, I'm
you-
sure.
Yeah.
I guess it was more like, probably 12 to 27 that sucked ass going upstream.
I watched years ago. It's probably a video on it, but Jack LaLanne. I want to say like every year for his birthday he would do something crazy. But I want to say it was his 60th birthday. He fucking got into the water and like grabbed a rope. I don't know how he held onto it and pulled a tugboat.
Holy shit!
He moved it by swimming.
And he actually moved it?
He fucking moved it.
Good for him.
Yeah, well, I'm like, just let go of the rope, dude. You go a lot faster.
Yeah, right? We're all running around, dragging our tugboats behind us.
But again, I'm just joking. He was showing that we can break beyond the expansion of what we are. We acclimate higher. So, there's people out there like David Goggins of the world. People are always crazy. What he's doing is breaking the unique model of the human belief of what the body can do.
Mm-hmm. And handle.
Yeah, he's breaking that model. That's all he's doing. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great. It doesn't mean it's for everyone, but people are like, oh, he's going to hurt. I'm like, you're just doing that because he's making you feel lazy. I'm like, if he's making you feel lazy, that's something in your head. Doesn't mean you have to go run 100 miles. But what are you holding on to with a belief saying, I can't do this? He can teach you that without having running. It could be a business opportunity you want to do. I can't, I'm too old, I'm too this. Fuck that shit. Stop it. Let go of that. Whenever he goes and runs, like he's got pins, he's got all these things. Like, why does he keep doing it? Because he's breaking the human psyche of the model of what the physical body can do. Mm-hmm. That's what we came here to do.
That's exactly it.
We came here to break away this operating system. Every couple of years, a new operating system comes into the phone. Mm-hmm. The phone's the same, so to speak, but the operating system changes because we're up leveling. We're up high. Let go, let go, let go. Simply let go, and watch what happens. Like I heard David Goggins talk about this, where he always seems like he's yelling. That's what I love to do. Yeah, so I'm out there running, and about mile 30, it hits, and then let's go. So he was in pain for 30 miles.
30 miles is so long.
It is long.
I've never ran 30 miles in my life.
But it's like he was in pain. But the thing is it's a psychological thing, because he probably set out to run 100 miles. When I would set out to run, say, 3 miles, I was in pain for the first mile. When I set out to run 10 miles, I was in pain for the first 3 miles. It's a psychological weird fucking thing. Like the most I've ever run was 20 miles.
Holy shit. You've ran 20 miles?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I used to run a lot when I was a kid. My dad, I remember my dad would take me to track. I was a young kid.
Yeah.
When I got into boxing. He would take me to track and we'd run around. So each lap is...
Yeah, so you actually knew what the mile marker was.
Yeah, so it's 4 miles. Mm-hmm. I mean, 4 laps is 1 mile. Then one day, he's like, come on, we're going. So we ran along the parkway, all right? And I remember running, and all of a sudden, I'm following him. He's ahead of me. And we ran 7 miles. Well, I had to run back fucking 7 miles. So I ran like 14 miles that day. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? But when you run in a circle, you could stop and the car's right there.
Yeah, right.
Or your bicycle's right there. Yeah. But when you run out, you got to come back. No one tells you that, you know?
Exactly.
And I remember my dad's like, he was like that. He was like the dad duck. He wasn't stopping, man. Yeah. He was just running. He's like, just stay stay over here and just keep going. I'll meet you at home. And I'm like, motherfucker. Like, I didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah, exactly.
And I fucking ran.
So that means your dad did it the 7 miles back too?
Yeah.
Damn, so your dad was in great shape.
My dad was, Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
but
crazy.
he grew up boxing, man.
Yeah, no, totally.
Running is long distance running is not really necessary for boxing, but
just stamina, endurance. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, my dad would always challenge me.
You got to stay in the ring,
he would wake me up in the morning, like, come on. It's like, he's like, let's do some push-ups, like, because he's trying to get in my ego head.
Yeah.
I bet you I could do more. I'm like, no, and I'm like 6:30 in the morning. I don't know how old I was. I'm like, I bet you I can do more and doing push-ups. And meanwhile, the motherfucker got me out of bed doing push-ups. Like it was his way of doing it.
Psychological win.
Yeah. And then he's like, can you do it on your knuckles? Then he'd do the 3 fingers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then he'd have me. He's like, oh yeah, and he'd do the push-ups. But then he's like, sit on my back. Mm-hmm. And I sit on his back, and you go up and down push-ups. Yeah,
doing the push-ups.
And then he pushed his hand on me, and I'm like, stop doing that. I'm only 10. Stop doing that. I'm only 10. Yeah.
That's so funny. The shit we remember.
Yeah, and it was like he was messing with me, but he was breaking the foundation of what the construct of belief was, right? And that's what we're supposed to do every single day of our life. And the way you do that is by letting go, not holding on to. Because if I let go of a belief, I'm a blank piece of paper. If I let go of belief, my neural pathways just kind of open up.
And that's what they did with the 4-minute mile, right? Or was it a 3-minute mile? What was it?
Yeah, the 4-minute mile.
4-minute mile. That's
I almost walked the 3-minute mile last night.
yeah, right. Nobody could do it, etc. This weird, bar, and then one person does it, and all these people start breaking.
My cousin's son broke it. The 4-minute mile.
Did he?
Yeah. Now I don't know how many people in history did it, but he went to University of Pennsylvania.
And he was a runner.
Yeah, and he was. I think he broke records there, but he was one of only a handful of people that did that. So I think it was like 3.
So it still kind of holds today.
It's
as
still
like as a crazy standard.
Yeah, it's still very difficult thing to do. It's not easy. I was never really a runner. I just ran for the endurance, but I remember breaking a mile under 5 minutes.
And that's crazy.
That was crazy for me. Like another minute was taken off your fucking time. Like that's a long time, man.
Yeah, a minute.
That's a long time. So, and it just becomes, if you do something the first time, you're like, okay, this is all I can do. I'm like, no, just keep doing it. And that's what direction gives you. When you keep moving in a direction, if you don't stop, keep doing it, all of a sudden you look back, I'm like, wow. I'm like, yeah. It's when you're non-directionalist and just have a goal. And every time you look at your goal, you go into the locker room, you step on the scale. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'm seeing how close I am to the goal. I'm like, you're depressing the fuck out of your body is what you're doing. Stop it. Stop measuring it. Just keep moving. And I guarantee one day you'll pass the mark in which you were tempted to go to. Because what's your goal? Your goal is to be healthy, not lose weight. Your goal is to feel good, not to look good. But when you feel good and you move forward and do this, one day you look in the mirror and just happen to step on the scale, you surpass everything you ever thought about. Yeah. But your goals are going to stop you. Your goals are going to limit you. No, direction doesn't limit you. Just run that way. Just keep going. See what you experience. Keep going. I don't know. Till the last breath. That's it. Keep going.
That's the point of this whole experience.
And everything, when you're in a direction, everything appears exactly the way you need it. And you see it. This is where synchronicity comes in. You're aware of, I needed this. It played into that game. But when I assume I need this prior to going out there, until it comes, I don't go. I'm like, God, that's why we're stuck. Yeah. So breathe. Breathing is a great thing because it can be uncomfortable.
It definitely can.
But every single time I breathe, I am a different person than I did before.
Absolutely.
There's not one time where I ever changed.
You're changing your
physiology.
Literally.
Yeah, right in front of your eyes.
It's releases trauma. It does all. Guys, anybody listening, and you just go find a local breath work. There's plenty of that out there right now. Anybody where you're at right now, go just search online, go into a Facebook group.
Well, if you're self-motivated, just do it yourself.
Yeah, shit. Pull up youtube.com right now, but put on Breathe with Sandy. We love that guy. Put on a 15-minute. He actually has this 40-minute one. That's crazy. Yeah. It's like the first 20 minutes, and you can, and then the last 20 is like a meditation portion. But that is something where it's like deep breathing in and out, and you will like feel like you're detaching from the body. It's
and then he also does like the workshops where it's like 4 hours.
Yep.
Yeah. So
try it
again. Just a 5-minute breath work, just to notice the change. I'm like, oh, that changed. Well, what do you think 10 will do? And it's not about getting to the place where you're doing it for 4 hours.
No.
It's not. It's about getting your body familiar with the state of energy constantly flowing through. So if it only takes you one breath in to get there, fucking amen, brother.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's not about how long can I breathe. I'm like, how quickly can I get into that state?
Yeah, how can I calm my nervous system?
How can I get there quickly? And I could just think about breathing and it does it. And then now it's kind of like the direction I'm moving in. If I'm moving in a direction and I have too many beliefs, it's like having anchors holding out and dragging across the bottom of the ocean. But when I do that, I pull the anchors up and the flow is so much easier. So I'm letting go of things by breathing. Because what's breath do? Breath is consciously in.
Letting go.
Letting go is the easiest thing in the world. Just let go. There's another breath of oxygen on the other side of you letting go. You're not going to do without by letting go. Yeah, so that's always our running theme here, a perspective shift, and we just give you different ways of looking at it. But yeah, just do it. You got to do the work.
You won't be disappointed. Things start to change. Your relationships get more full.
Everything.
Yeah,
does.
you experience love so much greater.
Yeah.
You don't have fear the way you had fear before, where you're constantly worried about the next shoe to drop.
Yeah.
You have this like grounded faith and knowing, or a grounded knowing more than faith. It's like a knowing that it's all going to work out.
Yeah. I want to finish up with this. Over the week, an old video came up of Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
And there was a study put out.
Oh, the one you sent me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this one.
Yep.
And he talked about when you're the receiver of kindness, your dopamines, your serotonins, they level up.
Yeah, all those levels rise.
So that's just being the recipient of that. When you're the actual person giving, you equally go up. Your dopamines, your serotonins, all, you feel better. And then there's a third part. When you're the witness of it, it goes up. All right? Now, most people up to date are waiting to receive something or waiting to witness something. But the fundamental idea is the doer.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to live life, you'll be the one who creates the kindness. Because now you're not waiting. And your serotonin's dopamine go up. And not only that, you're actually affecting two other principles. Mm-hmm. One of the receiver and the other one of the observer. Mm-hmm. So stop waiting. Do it. Because you can wait till someone does something kind to you. Oh, it's about time someone say kind to me. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's about time I witnessed a kind act. Like, why are you waiting? Mm-hmm. Why not
get out and do that kind act?
Be the person who produces that. This is how you change the world. Literally.
Be the change.
Be kind. Do something good. Take yourself out of the equation. And guess what? You benefit. That's why whatever you give, you get back. You get the same response in the body that the person that you said they look beautiful, they look great, or whatever it is, they did a great job. When you say great job to someone, it piques you. Mm-hmm. And then someone witnesses that and it piques them. Be the initiator. Stop waiting. Life has got a bunch of waiters in it. Stop doing that.
We'll throw that clip in. I'll find it. I have it on my phone. I'll throw it in at the end of this.
Yeah.
Here's a fascinating study that was just completed. That any person who is the recipient of an act of kindness has their serotonin levels increased just because they received an act of kindness. And their immune system is strengthened because they received this dose of kindness. That's the recipient. And secondly, any person who is the giver, the provider of an act of kindness, anything you ever do, but particularly towards the people that you're close to in your life, and particularly towards strangers, with just a smile, the serotonin levels in you are increased to the same degree that they are in the receiver. And so is your immune system strengthened. You want to strengthen your immune system? Be kind. But even more dramatic than that, I get excited about this. Because this is what blows me away about it, is that the observer of an act of kindness, has their serotonin levels and their immune system strengthened just because they're in the energy field of someone who is displaying kindness. When you see someone being kind to another person, it's like a dose of an antidepressant.
Thank you guys for tuning in this week. We had a great episode with you as always. We appreciate you guys sticking with us. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. Yeah. Reach out to us at our email, perspectiveshift2020@gmail.com. We'd love writing back to you guys, and we will see you next week. And we got a special guest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it'll be a fun next episode.
Yep. All right. Much love and peace out.
See you guys soon.
All right.